The case for separate administration for Kukis and Meiteis in Manipur disclaimer. This article draws on verified reports from multiple sources, including independent news platforms, academic analyses, and international reports covering the ethnic conflict in Manipur. The analysis is grounded in openly available data, ground reports, and scholarly insights. Views expressed are for informational purposes and aim to provide a balanced perspective. Readers are encouraged to verify facts independently. Introduction. Manipur, a northeastern state of India, has been embroiled in a violent ethnic conflict between the Meitei and Kuki communities since May 3, 2023. The clashes, triggered by a controversial Manipur High Court recommendation to consider Scheduled Tribe ST status for the Meiteis, have resulted in over 260 deaths, displaced more than 60,000 people, and caused widespread destruction, including the burning of 4,786 houses and vandalism of 386 religious structures. The once coexisting communities, predominantly Hindu Meiteis in the Imphal Valley and predominantly Christian Kukis in the hill districts, are now deeply divided. Mutual distrust, cultural incompatibility, and geographical segregation have rendered coexistence under a unified administration untenable. This article argues that a separate administration for Kuki-dominated hill areas is the only viable path to lasting peace, based on 4 key factors: the collapse of trust under Chief Minister N. Biren Singh's government, irreconcilable ethnic and cultural differences, mutual refusal to coexist post-violence, and the pre-existing territorial division between the valley and hills. 1. Collapse of trust. Under Chief Minister N. Biren Singh's government. Since N. Biren Singh, a Meitei, assumed the role of Chief Minister in 2017 under the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, relations between Meiteis and Kukis have deteriorated significantly. The state government has been accused of institutional bias favoring the Meitei community, exacerbating ethnic tensions and eroding trust in governance. State policies. Perceived as anti-Kuki, Singh's administration has implemented policies widely viewed as discriminatory against the Kuki community. The War on Drugs campaign, launched to curb illegal poppy cultivation, has disproportionately targeted Kuki villages in the hill districts, often ignoring similar activities in Meitei-dominated areas. A 2023 report by Scroll highlighted that these operations have led to the destruction of Kuki livelihoods, with entire villages labeled as drug hubs without sufficient evidence. Similarly, eviction drives in Kuki-dominated areas, justified as efforts to reclaim encroached forest land, have displaced numerous Kuki families. The Indian Express reported in 2023 that these evictions, particularly in Churachandpur and Kangpokpi, were perceived as attempts to marginalize Kukis economically and territorially, fueling resentment and distrust. Alleged support for Meitei militias. Reports from Human Rights Watch and Scroll indicate that Meitei armed groups, such as Arambai Tengol and Meitei Lipun, have operated with apparent impunity, attacking Kuki settlements and looting police armories during the 2023 violence. The National Investigating Agency, NIA, has implicated these groups in organized violence, including the theft of over 3,000 weapons from state armories. Despite these findings, the state government has faced criticism for its silence and inaction, with no significant arrests of Meitei militia members. In contrast, Kuki youths have faced mass arrests, often on flimsy charges, further deepening the perception of state bias. A 2024 Human Rights Watch report noted that this selective enforcement has eroded Kuki trust in state institutions, making governance under a unified administration untenable. Political marginalization. The Meiteis, who dominate the Imphal Valley, hold 40 of the 60 seats in the Manipur Legislative Assembly, despite occupying only 10% of the state's landmass. This political imbalance has left Kukis, who primarily inhabit the hill districts, feeling unrepresented and vulnerable. Kuki leaders have been systematically excluded from key governance roles, with decision-making concentrated among Meitei elites. The Observer Research Foundation, 2023, noted that this marginalization has fueled Kuki demands for a separate administrative framework, as they no longer view the state government as impartial. The lack of equitable representation has made coexistence under a Métis-dominated government increasingly untenable for the Kuki community. 2. Irreconcilable ethnic, cultural, and linguistic differences. The Métis and Kuki communities are distinct in their ethnic identities, cultural practices, and political aspirations, making forced integration a persistent source of conflict. A. Ethnic and religious divide. The Métis, constituting 53% of Manipur's 3.2 million population, are predominantly Hindu, with some adhering to the indigenous Sanamahi religion. They speak Métis-lan, Manipuri, written in Bengali script, and have historically been a valley-based community with a feudal tradition. In contrast, the Kukis, part of the Kuki-Csos tribal group and comprising 16% of the population, are overwhelmingly Christian, Baptist, or Presbyterian, and speak Kuki-Chin languages, such as Thadu and Paite, using Roman script. Their hill-based lifestyle is rooted in tribal self-governance, with a strong emphasis on communal land ownership. These differences, as outlined in a 2024 article by The Diplomat, are not merely cultural, but are tied to competing visions of identity and autonomy, creating a fundamental divide. B. Divergent political goals. The Métis have long sought ST status to gain access to tribal land rights and government quotas, a demand that sparked the 2023 violence after a Manipur High Court order recommended its consideration. The Kukis, already recognized as a scheduled tribe, view this as a direct threat to their land and autonomy, fearing Métis encroachment into the hill districts. The Kuki Inpi, the apex Kuki body, has consistently demanded a separate administration, such as a union territory, to protect their tribal identity and land rights. In contrast, Métis leaders prioritize maintaining Manipur's territorial integrity, viewing any form of separation as a challenge to their dominance. This clash of aspirations, as noted by the International Crisis Group 2025, makes reconciliation under a single administration highly challenging. See historical precedents of conflict. Manipur has a history of ethnic strife, most notably the 1992-93 Kuki-Naga clashes, which displaced over 114,000 people and destroyed 600 villages. The current Métis-Kuki conflict, however, is unprecedented in its scale and brutality, with reports of sexual violence, arson, and ethnic cleansing. A 2024 Scroll report documented instances of targeted killings and mass displacement, highlighting the deep-rooted mistrust compounded by historical grievances. The failure of past integration efforts, coupled with the intensity of the 2023 violence, underscores the need for a new administrative approach. Third, mutual refusal to coexist. After May 2023 violence. The violence that erupted on May 3, 2023, following a Kuki-led tribal solidarity march against the Métis ST demand, has created an irreversible divide between the two communities. A. Ethnic cleansing and displacement. The conflict has led to a near-complete segregation of the Métis and Kuki populations. Over 60,000 people have been displaced, with Kukis fleeing the Imphal Valley and Métis leaving the hill districts of Churachandpur, Kangpokpi, and More. No mixed villages remain, and both communities have vowed not to return to areas dominated by the other. Scroll 2024 described this segregation as reminiscent of India's 1947 partition, with a no-man's land, monitored by central forces separating the two groups. This de facto partition has solidified the geographical divide, making unified governance impractical. B. Escalation of hostility and propaganda. Both communities have engaged in dehumanizing rhetoric, with Métis leaders calling for the elimination of Kukis, and Kuki groups demanding complete separation. Social media has amplified this hostility, with misinformation campaigns fueling violence. A 2024 report by The Diplomat noted that viral videos and posts have spread false narratives, such as claims of Kuki militancy or Métis genocide, deepening mutual animosity. The Kuki Inpi declared in July 2024 that no peace talks were underway, reflecting the depth of distrust. C. Failure of peace. Initiatives, multiple attempts at ceasefires and peace talks have collapsed due to mutual distrust. A peace meeting in Jiribam district in August 2024 yielded no results, and Kuki groups have boycotted state-led peace committees, alleging Métis bias. The psychological trauma from atrocities, including the widely publicized sexual assault of Kuki women by Métis mobs, has entrenched this divide. The International Crisis Group, 2025, warned that forced unity under these conditions risks further violence, making separate administration a pragmatic solution. Fourth, geographical and administrative segregation. Already in place, Manipur's geography naturally segregates the Métis and Kuki communities, facilitating the feasibility of separate administration. A. Territorial division. The Imphal Valley, comprising 10% of Manipur's landmass, is the economic and political hub dominated by Métis. The hill districts, covering 90% of the state, are primarily inhabited by Kukis and Nagas. Post-2023 violence, this division has become absolute, with no Métis in the hills and no Kukis in the valley. This natural segregation, as noted by the Observer Research Foundation, 2023, supports the case for formalizing separate administrative units. B. De facto self-governance in Kuki areas. Kuki-dominated areas like Churachandpur and Kangpokpai are already self-governing, with organizations like the Kuki Inpi and Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum, Itlf, managing security and aid distribution. The state government has little to no control in these regions, where central forces, including the Assam Rifles, handle law and order. This existing separation, as reported by the Indian Express, 2023, underscores the feasibility of formalizing autonomy for the Kuki Hills. C. Precedents for administrative separation. India has successfully implemented separate administrations to resolve ethnic conflicts. The creation of the Bodoland territorial region in Assam addressed Bodo Muslim violence, while Telangana's formation from Andhra Pradesh in 2014 resolved cultural and administrative disputes. Similarly, the 2019 split of Jammu and Kashmir into two union territories demonstrates India's willingness to reorganize states for stability. A similar model, such as an autonomous council or union territory for Kuki Hill areas, could stabilize Manipur, as suggested by the International Crisis Group, 2025. Conclusion: a path to peace through separation. The Métis-Kuki conflict is not a transient dispute, but a deep-seated ethnic and cultural divide exacerbated by state policies and mutual hostility. The violence since May 2023 has shattered decades of uneasy coexistence, with both communities now viewing each other as existential threats. Forced unity under a Métis-dominated government will likely perpetuate violence, as evidenced by the failure of security measures and peace talks. To achieve lasting peace, the following steps are recommended. 1. Grant autonomy to Kuki Hill areas. Establish an autonomous council or union territory for Churachandpur, Kangpokpi, and More to protect Kuki land rights and identity. 2. Maintain Métis control in the valley. Allow the Imphal Valley to remain under the current Manipur government. 3. Secure buffer zones. Deploy central forces to maintain peace in transitional areas to prevent clashes. 4. Promote dialogue. Encourage inter-community talks facilitated by neutral mediators to address grievances and rebuild trust over time. India's history of creating separate administrative units in Assam, Telangana, and Ladakh provides a blueprint for Manipur. Without such a restructuring, the state risks descending further into a cycle of violence and lawlessness. Sources: Human Rights. Watch: India, renewed ethnic violence in Manipur State, 2024. Observer Research Foundation, The Social and Political Dimensions of Ethnic Conflicts in Manipur, 2023. Scroll: Manipur's Descent into Civil War, 2024. The Diplomat, The Manipur Conflict, Internal Discontent, Policy Gaps, and Regional Implications, 2024. International Crisis Group, Finding a Way Out of Festering Conflict in India's Manipur, 2025. The Indian Express, Manipur Violence, Evictions, Drugs, and Ethnic Divide, 2023. Wikipedia, 2023 to 2025 Manipur Violence, 2024.